Hey, it's Jase, and welcome to Speakeasy with Jase. This is your home for your weekly training on how you can make a lot more money, impact a lot more lives, and and make a big difference in the world. As we like to say, make a difference and make a lot of money. So in today's show, I'm super excited. I'm going to be sharing with you guys the mindset of selling one-to-many, how to package deals, and the importance of selling one-to-many with really big numbers. Also, have a super surprise today, a guy who has sold a ton from stage and has a wonderful heart to help people. Please welcome to Speakeasy with Jase. This is Mr. Mike Crow.
Hi.
Boy, was that an introduction, Mike.
We call that a surprise entrance.
Yep.
It's thrilling to be here today. Jase and I work together on many occasions as we help people prepare to be on stage and to help make sure that they're getting the right atmosphere, the right environment created on stage so that people want to do business with you. They want to be where you're at. They want to be part of what you're doing. So I'm excited to be here today.
Awesome. So let's tease this up. Mike, how long have you been speaking and selling from stage?
About 30 years.
30 years. And gross total volume, like you have a coaching company, that does multi-millions a year.
Yeah.
And I would say 99% of that came from your speaking.
Yeah, definitely did. And of course, there's more than one way to speaking from stage, speaking like this, speaking from webinars, speaking from teleclasses. I loved teleclasses, you know. Nobody could see me, and I was having a lot more fun.
So we're going to get into some of Mike's secrets in a moment, and thank you guys for tuning in. Now, if you think this could benefit your friends, if you know someone who's a coach, speaker, author, who wants to be an impact maker, maybe it's someone who's even raising money for charities, do me a favor, please like and share this so that they can see it. And also, I want to show you where we are. Is it okay if I show them?
Yeah, show them the whole room.
Because this is a special surprise what we're doing today. So over here, if you see something going on, they're actually simulcasting the live onto these screens behind me because I'm actually at a mastermind that Mike hosts for like coaches, speakers, authors, trainers called Coach Blueprint. And so, say hi, guys. So these are some of the awesome people we have training here today. So they have this awesome training room that we're in Texas. And so we're doing the live, and then they're watching it on the screens over there as well. And hopefully there will be a minimal amount of heckling. So.
No, I plan on to heckle a lot, just so you know.
Mike has this new theory of heckling speakers.
No, we call it hashtag banter.
Yeah, hashtag banter. So, talking about closing from stage, Mike. So what do you think gross volume sales total that you've done?
Well, our last show was about 460,000. And we've been doing that for about 16 years. 16 years.
Yeah. And what Mike does that most coaches out there don't touch is he sells in continuity. So every year, the sales are stacking. Even if he maybe did 460 this year, if he did the exact same next year, his gross actually goes up because he has carryover from the previous year. So he's actually going like this.
Yeah, a few people die every year, so we lose them. Other than that, we're doing pretty good.
That's the only way you get out. So let's talk about escape clauses from...
By the way, we didn't say how they died. I'm just telling you, it's not necessarily the best way to exit the program, okay?
So if you would like to sign up for our new coaching program, Do or Die is what we're calling it.
Do or Die. Change or Die. I think there's a book called that.
That's actually a great name for a book.
It is. I've got it.
Do you guys remember that movie where like you would hire a coach and like, I think it was the quit smoking and like...
Oh my gosh.
Remember that one?
Oh, you know what happened, right? If you don't stop smoking, we cut your wife's pinky off. Yeah.
Yeah. And like this one, I remember as a kid, and I only saw like a piece of this movie, and I remember this guy ducks down in his car to smoke, and he comes up and he looks over, and the agents are staring at him, and he's like calling his wife, honey, run.
But she has no idea.
Now, I'm joking about that, but I think about that a lot in my business. If I had to do it or someone died, could I get it done? Especially, so let's talk about the mindset of sales, because we were kind of organically talking Coach Blueprint today. This is what I wanted to talk to you about with you guys. Is it important to do big ticket sales, and how do you make it easier, and how do you crush it more? Troy, thanks for saying hi. So here's my thought about big ticket sales. The bigger the investment people make in themselves, the bigger they're going to produce. And what I mean by that is, and I said it this morning, 2012, I was coming out of a real rough time, and I was ready for things to really change. And like, I used to go to these weekend seminars, and they were awesome and they were intense, and my life would change. But I was ready for something bigger, and I was at a place that offered really like a 2-year leadership program, and it hit me like, if I really want my life to change, I need something more than a weekend. I need like a year. I need something huge that's going to call me forth to be bigger. And so doing that 2-year leadership program, that's actually when I met you.
Yeah.
That's when I met Phil, who just said hi. It's one that's made a huge impact on my business, but more importantly, who I am in my life. And so I'm a big believer that if we can get people to spend $20,000, $30,000 on themselves, it does a couple things. One, it changes the way they look at themselves, because now they go, I remember when I bought, I was in Anthony Robbins' Platinum Partnership, his big thing, and I spent $65,000, and I remember walking back in the room going, holy crap, I spent as much as some doctors spend in a half year or whatever. And like my theory of what I was worth started to elevate. And then the second thing it does, people have to get creative to pay for it. And then the third thing, now they get a year-long training. I mean, and you've seen this over and over. What have you seen?
We see it all the time. And I have this big debate with some people, because I love to set it up so that people can pay monthly, because that's the way most people are taught to invest in anything today. Think about it. Your house is monthly, your car is monthly, and all this other stuff. However, it's been proven over and over again, when somebody is willing to invest a chunk of money, then they're going, man, I got this year to get this like done, or 2 years or 3 years, because a lot of people now are doing like 3-year programs, right? Mm-hmm. And so I love it when I see somebody invest for the whole year, because now I know that person is serious about getting it done. And as a coach, I want to spend more time with that person than I do somebody going, yep, here's my monthly. And by the way, I love the monthly. I love the monthly so much I can't even begin to tell you. It makes sure that everything here gets taken care of. But when somebody invests a chunk like that, that tells me they have made a commitment. And when they're willing to make that commitment, I'm willing to make that commitment as well.
It gets more exciting, right?
It gets more exciting.
For you. So let's talk
and
about...
by the way, I can be more honest with them.
Say more about that. Wait.
Well, I mean, but think about it. If you're paying me every month, I don't want to piss you off because you might quit, right? Well, I will anyway. Hashtag banter. I mean, we'll get there. In fact, I joke around. I said, if I haven't made you mad yet, hang around. I'll get to you, okay? But the truth is, if somebody's paying me monthly, it makes it a little bit more challenging, because I know that they're a month-to-month person. But when somebody's willing to put all in, I'm willing to go all in as well, and I'm willing to be completely honest with them, because I want to make sure they have the biggest success they possibly can.
So what one of my first mentors talked about, he would sell a one-on-one coaching session,
yep.
And if he gave a guarantee on the coaching session, people would be checking their watch the whole time, because if they weren't happy, they had to cancel before the session was over, and so the entire 60 minutes, they're like, is this worth it or is it not? And then he quit doing that, and maybe it was 5 minutes. If you want to change your mind the first 5 minutes, you get your money back. After that, there's no refunds on that session. And when people aren't waffling on whether it's worth it, and they do that when they haven't really paid in, when they're fully paid in, they're so much easier to work with. And they're so much more committed, because now they've paid in. They've paid in fully to the program. So there's a commitment level that's there. Even with, so Mike does continuity. Like, you could pay monthly. Can they stop anytime?
Sure.
Depends on the program.
They can stop. Well, we ask them to commit for at least a year, but they can stop anytime they want. And most of the people that are part of our program are there for year after year after year after year. And honestly, look, I'm even a monthly person. You know why? Because I don't want to have to. I don't want to have to recommit. So. Even my insurance company goes, hey, we want to charge you, every 6 months. Well, I have 20 plus vehicles. So it meant like every month, it's like, what vehicle's insured, what vehicle is not insured this month? I told them, I said, put me on a monthly program. They said, it will cost more. I said, I don't care. Just every month, I want it charged every single month. So I'm committed. See, the difference for me, and this is the difference for me.
Keep talking.
I'm committed for life. Okay? I've been part of coaching programs that I've been paying for 10 plus years, okay? And you or I are the very same way. A lot of times when people are committed, they're committed for a month. I'm committed for life. So I don't want to have to sign a new form and say, sign me up again. I just want to get it done, and I want them to know I'm going to be there every month in and out. So this is the different mindset between people like us and the 95% that are going, oh, I don't know, let me see if I get my toe wet and see if the water's cold. Guess what? The water's always cold, okay? But you got to get in and get used to it so that, you learn how to swim.
Exactly. So if you guys have questions on there, type them in the chat, and we will take your questions live on the air. If you don't have questions, we're going to keep riffing. So we're talking a little about mindset. I want to talk about packaging and structuring. Ooh. And I also want to talk about what you should sell and what you can sell. So I just did a small mastermind in Boise, and we had like 9 business entities there. And a couple of them want to be coaches, and they had no idea what to put into big packages. So actually, going along with mindset, I think that's probably a better place to start, is creating your offer. And here's how I think about it. Here's how I put it together. If you're doing your marketing right, you know who your prospect is. You know their demographics. You know what they want. You know what hurts them. You know what excites them. You know what keeps them up at night. And you also know what the capacities are. So within the context of speaker training, I know probably they suck, and they're either one of many places. They're either like, oh, I'm not afraid to speak, but they don't have the structure and the delivery to be world class, or they're just terrified to speak, or the best ones are speaking, they're doing okay, but they know they can be doing way better. Like, they're humble about it, and my ideal client does not have a bunch of ego with it. So I know that's where they are, and I know what they need right now is scripting, delivery, and mindset. So if they get scripting, or at least if they learn the structure for scripting, and then they learn that there is such a thing as stage anchoring and spatial awareness and subconscious influence by how you move a stage, I make them aware of that, and then I do some breakthrough work with their mindset. I know at the end of that first process, now what they need is to script, is to master delivery, and is to really go wash themselves out internally, mentally, and emotionally so they're on fire when they hit the stage. So I know when they finish what their next is, so I have created a program called Black Belt Speaker Training that helps with that. And it's not like I'm just saying, what can I sell them? It's what do they need that will benefit their life that's next? And if I can provide it, or if I can provide the right third-party entity to come in and be a part of my team, or white label, or just to sell their stuff, now I'm doing a favor to my people, because they don't have to go to some stranger to hunt out what we could provide, or at least we could provide through our brand, and protect them.
You're absolutely correct.
How have you put together your higher level programs? And do you want to just kind of share your different ones you got so people get the world of it?
Man, and wow, we just keep having people say hi, so this is wonderful. It is amazing how putting your program together, and you have to start, it has to start with like your core product or your flagship product.
Core product.
What is the number one thing that the audience that you're going to speak to most of the time needs? So for my audience, most of the time, small business owners, the number one thing they need is more business. They need the phone to ring more. They need for more people to walk in and out of the store. They need more patience. I need more patience, but spelled differently. But but the bottom line is that you've got to figure out what is their number one need. And that's kind of what Jase was saying. And one of the reasons, by the way, Jase and I work so close is because I teach people all the time, number one fastest way to build your business is speaking. Number one fastest way to build your business is speaking. But even when they go speak, wherever they're speaking, they need to know what their audience needs. Like I said, mine needs marketing, okay? And 80+% of people need more business, all right? And if you're not one of those, then that's like huge. Now what we need to do is just turn it up so we can make your business bigger in the process. So that kind of goes, kind of like you said, scripting, it goes to the structure of how you're going to grow your business as well. So in the process of...
Can I pop in
yeah,
there?
please.
So Mike said, what do they need? So how do you find what they need? Do you hire a PI? Here's what I found is a really simple way to find out what my people need. I literally go, what do you need? Do you guys want me to do that again? Did you guys catch that? Or the other questions I'll ask, what are your top 3 challenges and what are your top 3 goals? And it doesn't matter if they say my top 3 challenges are my kids are driving me nuts and I have no time for the business and I'm carrying too much weight. What does that have to do with speaking? I don't know, but I'll find a resource for them. And if it's not me, I'll just provide something that benefits their life, period. And then they're going to like me more. Or chances are, speaking is, like Mike said, the number one fastest way to grow your business. Well, if they have no time and their kids are driving them nuts, it probably means they haven't had time away or taken their kids to do something fun and the kids are bored, so they're going crazy. And if they're carrying extra weight, well, if I can show them how to make a lot of money fast, then they have the time and energy to go burn that stuff out.
Yeah. Are you calling me fat?
Nope. Nobody up here.
I'm glad to hear that.
No, blame Jose.
That's a good way to get out of my program.
No.
All right. And we already know how that ends. All right.
But I actually want to show you guys, the reason I got up is when Mike was talking, I was like, ooh, I want to write this down. So I got my notebook to take notes.
It's so much fun being around other successful people. And, you know, one of the things I found inside of your package, as you're building your package, keep in mind it's not just about them. In our world today, people understand that they want more than just more information, all right? What they really want is more success, but the only way to get more success is to actually do stuff. We brought in a coach into our program this last year. He's a productivity coach. And so he's trying to make sure that people not only get the information, but they're actually doing something with it. And by the way, everybody says accountability. I hate accountability. You try to hold me accountable, I'm going to run the other direction. Just ask my wife, okay?
Yeah, you guys don't, and that's what most coaches, we're going to hold you accountable. You don't think when I hear someone say that, that's a brand new coach who's repeating something they heard in a seminar and they're probably going to stink.
Yeah, here's what I'd rather do as a coach. And here's what I try to help build into our program. I want to sit side by side with you and go, what is it the number one thing you want to try to achieve? You want more people sitting in your seminar. Oh, you want more you want the phone to ring more. Oh, you want more people walking in. Well, here's what I would suggest. I have this thing called Big Bang Marketing. So in Big Bang Marketing, we do this and we do this and we do this and we do this. Which one of those are you willing to get started first? Or as a coach, a lot of times I go, here's the first part of this. You really need to focus on this first. Are you willing to do that? And they go, yeah. I go, great. Here, let me give you some of the pieces of that. Next time we get together, I go, how did that work? What kind of challenges did you have? What do we need to work on better? I just try to help them focus on that part. I hate accountability. You try to hold me accountable, and you're going to lose me because I'm holding myself accountable at a higher level than you can ever hold me. And it just aggravates for you to think you can hold me accountable higher than I'm holding myself, all right?
And it's because people like us, well, I'll ask you, when you do something wrong, do you just brush it off or do you tend to beat yourself up?
I tend to tell my wife and then she beats me up. Hey, you know, it makes it easier when you have as my daughter said, I have a built-in system. So we all hold ourselves. We all have a tendency to remember that, but the truth is, we gotta let it go.
Yeah, I don't need anyone to beat me up. I do it plenty enough on my own. And part of my personal, we're talking about coaching philosophies now too. Part of what you're selling isn't an event or a service; it's your philosophy. And part of my philosophy is, well, all right, I'll just say the story. So. I've been dating a girl that had a daughter who had cerebral palsy and IQ under 6. Like she would walk like this. I mean, she's my little buddy now, Taylor. But back then she would bite and pinch her mom because her hemispheres didn't talk. She had slit ventricle syndrome, so she had a real-time self-soothing was very hard. And if she was really upset, she'd bite and pinch her mom. It used to drive me nuts, and I would like get really mad at her. So one day I read the Bible, and Jesus said, "The way you treat the least of these is the way you treat me." And I took a nap. In that nap, I had this dream I died, and I went to heaven, and Jesus is here, and he's like, just standing here. And he's like got loving eyes, and he's happy to see me. And Taylor's next to him like this. And Jesus goes like this. Like, hey, what's up, man? He doesn't speak. He just looks at me, and then he goes like this. Like, how'd you treat her? Because she's the least of these.
Yeah.
And I woke up from that nap, and Taylor did something. And I go, Taylor, come here. And she came over, and I just picked her up and hugged her. And what's really funny, Taylor, regardless of her IQ, she could actually be really funny. And I just put her down, and she goes, I didn't expect that. And then the next day, she was getting out of hand. I go, Taylor, come here. And I picked her up and hugged her. And from that day forward, her behavior started to shift.
Mm-hmm.
And what I got for myself out of that is,
wow.
None of us need to be beaten up or kicked in the ass or have the crap knocked out of us anymore We just need to be loved. And I don't mean like gives people the space to make all these excuses. Still, you can hold the space of having people be their word. But I really believe everybody's doing the best they can at all times with what they have. And our programs, meaning mine, meaning yours, gives people the space to step into greatness, because I really believe the people we're attracting, that's what they want to do.
You got to say that again. You really believe
that our programs, like my program, your program, the programs you're going to sell watching there, you're giving people the space to step into their greatness. That people want to be great. Like really, if you're watching this and you could just, that thing that's holding you back was gone, wouldn't you be making more of a difference in the world, making more money, sharing more love? I think that's where we all want to go. We got to kind of like have us as trainers unite to help people get there. Which brings us back to our point today.
Yeah.
How do you get there? You sell them a huge program. I'm not being sarcastic. Like, yes. So I had some notes. When I first got into this business, I worked for a seminar company, and we would do these high ropes courses and all this physical challenging stuff. And every time we did this one course, we would have people show up, especially like really overweight people. Like, I can't do it. I won't be able to do it. I want a refund. And then the company would say, no, there's no refunds after 3 days according to the contract. So like, fine, I'll do it. And because they were forced, or a space was held for them to be able to, they would actually do the ropes course, and they would have this most unbelievable time. And every single one of them came to us afterwards and said, thank you for not giving my money back. Thank you for not giving a refund, for honoring your word of holding a contract. I had the biggest breakthrough. See, because if they're not even willing to go out to the ropes course, you know, if you go to the ropes course, no one's going to make you climb anything, right? Like, nobody's running a company and wants to get sued if you get hurt. Like, it's all optional. But if you're not even willing to because you don't think you can, then where else in your life are you bailing on what you could do because you don't think you can? So putting structures in place. You guys, we talked about this at your event. If you're going to climb Mount Everest, the time to hire a coach is at the bottom, because there's no coaches halfway up.
times before you get to Mount Everest.
Yeah. It's months before. Well, it's months before, so that you can actually do the right training, get the right equipment. But you want to pay this. You don't want to pay this coach in installments. I don't know, if you're a coach taking people up Mount Everest, maybe you would take installments, because halfway up they'll pay you anything you want.
Please just help me finish. You know, actually, one of the best people I love to work with is those people that have gone to the base of Mount Everest and gone up, 100, 1,000 feet, and they go, what the hell am I doing? And they come back down and they go, who can help me with this? And the truth is, I've been there, you've been there. We've gone to that base of Mount Everest, and we started going up it, and we looked at it and went, I am totally unprepared for this. So who can help me with this? We all have our life stories. We call them different things. You call them a high-low story. I call it a dip bio. I heard somebody this morning call it a hero's journey. I love that term. Mm-hmm. And all of us have had that tipping point in our life where we make the decision, we're going to do this, or we're not going to do this. And I was listening to my preacher, and he was talking. This was 2 years ago. I was listening to a recording of him, and he was saying, usually if you talk to people, and it's kind of like the ropes course, right? While they're standing there, they wish they hadn't signed up. Okay. However, after they've done it, they're so thrilled they made the decision. But it's even worse than that. The people that came and didn't sign up, and then they see somebody else do it, and now they're 10 years older, and they look back and go, man, I wish I had done that. In fact, in our preacher, his name is Rick Ashley, he said, it's like 4 to 1 when people get older, they wish they had instead of they wish they hadn't, okay? So it's like 80% to 84% to like 16%. Wish they had done it. And the challenge you have with whoever you're helping, and as you build your package, you need to know this. People want to say no. They want to say no.
You think so?
Well, there's a piece inside of them.
I think people have been conditioned by society to say
right.
no.
No, I
think
agree.
Secretly they want to say yes. We had a woman, so we just made an offer, and the biggest package we had was $18,000. And she was like waffling on buying one and then the other, and then whether after she wrote that contract and the check, she was so ecstatic, on fire. And then after she buys, she goes, you know what I said to my husband? I told him this January I was praying for a new culture and group of people to be around me, and now I found it.
Wow.
And I'm like, but 10 minutes before she had signed the contract, she's like, right?
That's exactly
People
what
are
I'm talking about.
ecstatic
That
when
10
they
minutes
commit to
before.
that future.
That 10 minutes before, there's
Yeah.
a piece inside them that wants to say no, but there's that piece of them that knows they cannot really move. They cannot get to the top of Everest by themselves. They've got to have that coach. They've got to have that guide. They've got to have that person who knows where to walk, where not to walk, okay? You know, I heard something very interesting the other day. It was a guy who was in the military, and he said, I don't know if it was his dad or if it was him, but this was literally, you know, like D-Day on the beaches and everything. And he was watching people run up the beaches, and they were, the mines, they would just explode. It was disastrous. It was terrible. Where do you walk on the beach like that?
I guess where the mines have already exploded.
You walk where other people have walked and it didn't explode.
Oh.
Okay? And the only way to really get to that next success is to walk in the footsteps, call it of giants, call it of other successful people, call it of those people that, you know, did the right thing. So he said, as he was going towards the beach and he was running up, he was looking for other people's footsteps. Oh my gosh, somebody stepped there and there's no explosion. So great, so go that direction. And I heard that and I went, oh, you know, that is so true. One of the things I say all the time is be successful and be around those that are successful. I am so blessed in my life to have so many people that are doing the right things that I just try to walk in their footsteps a lot of times.
So let me talk about having done it.
Yeah.
Because I want to tee up a huge mistake people make when selling, especially big tickets. And there's this girl that I've seen on Facebook, and I think she's so great, but she's totally killing her sales, and I'll explain why in a minute. So I want to ask you these questions, Mike. In the pursuit of getting where you are today, have you just made money on everything you did?
Oh, absolutely. Everything was absolutely, completely What are you laughing at?
That's his daughter cackling over there.
Okay, I guess maybe I had one or two that didn't work out well.
So more importantly, you ever have your heart broken?
Yeah.
Like when someone leaves, or you don't make a sale, or you do it wrong. And then, so Mike has two like coaching programs right now. Him and his family own a very successful home inspection company. Biggest in Dallas?
Yep.
Biggest in Texas?
No, because I've trained 3 others to be bigger than me.
So biggest in Dallas. And then he has a coaching company where he trains home inspectors from all over the world now
Yep.
how to grow their home inspection business. And Mike has grown that by being an information marketer and a speaker and selling from stage.
And helping them stay focused.
And having a coaching program. And so his third thing now is he has a mastermind for coaches that teach coaches how to have a coaching program. So along the way of growing any of these 3 businesses, did you ever make mistakes?
Yeah.
Did you ever figure out how to do it better, faster, stronger?
Yes.
Did you ever get systems in place?
Heck yeah.
So when you're selling any of these 3, are you selling from theory, or maybe this will work, or I hope this works, or what are you selling from?
The worst person I want to buy from is somebody that's never done it. Okay? They're just saying, here's a good idea. Go do this. How do you know it's a good idea? I read it in a book. All right? And by the way, books are great information, but I want to still read the book from somebody that actually did it and did it right, you know?
Right.
So yeah, you've got to... You got to learn it from somebody that's actually doing it or has done it, or those are probably the best 2 categories.
And Mike said you got to learn from, so now I want to flip it to the sales side. So here's the mistake this girl's making. She's doing her Facebook Lives, and she keeps going, hey, I'm doing this 90-day challenge, and I'm going to do it with you. I'll be right there in the trenches with you. And I'm watching her, and I'm going, there go your sales. Because nobody wants to buy from the other student who's next to them going through the journey. Like Mike said, they want to buy from the person who's done it. So, ergo, when you sell, you don't want to be selling as I'm the student along with you. You want to sell as I have been there, I have done that, I've gotten the bruises, the cuts, the scrapes, I've cried so you don't have to, I've fallen in the pit so you don't have to, I know where the mines have exploded, I've lost friends along the way. I can tell you how to get up that beach faster and easier, and make sure you get up that beach where by yourself you might not, because I have done it, and I have done it, and I have done it. So
Yeah.
when you sell, you need to sell as guide to hero. You're not selling hero to hero, you're selling as guide to hero. And what's a guide? A guide was a hero who finished the journey, and now he comes back to coach.
Yeah.
And the best guides, look, I don't want to say there's people out there who are great coaches who just learned theory and now they're coaching from theory, and that's great. I think the best ones are really great coaches, i.e. they know how to work with humans, they have done what they're teaching, and they have studied a ton of theory as well. When you get someone who's done all that, they're going to be a great coach. So I think for you, that's who you need to be. And then when you put your packaging together to sell, you want to sell by transforming who people think they are, how they deal with life, their skill sets in life, their emotional capacities. You want to give them the hard, tangible skill sets of the business for which you're training them. And then the third thing you want to do, give them all the resources you can. So when I talked about, I know where people are in this journey, and I talk about what they need when they leave, well, this mastermind we just did, not a single person in that room had a consistent, effective funnel to get and nurture relationships automatically online.
Yeah. So when you're selling anything, especially though large packages, they need to know you've been there and that you've done it. Okay. When I was in college, my favorite professors were those that were still out there doing it in one way or another. They're consulting, and you could hear their success stories, right? And honestly, you and I, that's who we go study. I go study. And sometimes they're no longer with us, all right? So I go study Disney. I still study Disney. By the way, they are still with us, okay? But Disney's not, Walt's not. But I still go study that all the time to see what they're doing, how they're doing it, and how they're adjusting things. And I'm always putting those pieces into place. In fact, you know, I'm headed to Japan soon because I'm going to go see every Disney place in the world, okay?
That's awesome.
Yeah, that's awesome. By the way, you could do it with me. No, I'm just joking.
Go ahead, put it out if you want to.
No, I'm just joking. I was kind of on the lines of, hey, we could go together. Trust me. Would you want to go with me the first time ever to Japan and do Disney the first time ever? And that way you get to experience all the mistakes I'm going to make on the first trip. Or would you rather go? And I say, I've been there 5 times. I know what day to go. I know when to go. I know how to go. I know how to make sure we pay for what we should and what we shouldn't. And so all that other. So part of it is, we said it earlier today, right? You know, when the student is ready, the teacher will appear. Well, the teacher isn't somebody that's doing it for the first time, okay?
Like they're going to Disney to study how Disney does it. They're not going to Bob's new amusement park that's just opening.
Bob has an amusement park?
Yeah, it's an example.
Hey, Bob, congratulations. So anyway, but that's exactly correct. So here's the big thing is you're putting your package together. You want to make sure that you have your story, your success story, the hero's journey, the high-low, the dip bio. You know, my life is so amazing right now. I've been to the top of Mount Everest 3, 4, 5. Can you imagine 100 times? And now I know exactly how to get there and what way to go. And by the way, I think you showed this. You showed this.
So here's what. So Kevin Burke was in. You know Kevin.
Yeah.
So Kevin was at Mike's big event in February in Texas.
This is shocking.
Like 300-person event. And
kind of scary.
Kevin and I wrote this piece, this one presentation. Kevin he's a comedian. We actually teach a seminar together called Be Funny, Make Money. And so we're like, where do you want to hire coaches? And it's way before you ever get to Mount Everest.
Yeah.
We said, and then I had a picture of Mount Everest, and I said, what's up there? No coaches, no coaches, no coaches, no coaches. And then I said, what is up there? And it's dead bodies, dead bodies, dead bodies, and dead bodies. And these dead bodies are actually used as markers, like directional markers, by people who do have a coach.
You know, that's what they say. Even those people that fail can be a lesson to others, right?
Well, that's exactly
Sorry, being a little bit facetious, but it's true. Right? Look, if you fail climbing Mount Everest, we can point you out and go, he did it wrong.
Yeah, you're either going to be an inspiration or a case study for what not to do.
Yeah.
In business. So
you know, that sounds a little bit cynical, but I want you to understand that over 90% of businesses fail. So if you're studying it along with somebody that's never done it before, what you just said was, I'm willing to take a 90+% chance we're going to get it wrong. All right? Man, when I want to go get it right, I want to go find somebody that's done it and done it over and over and over. My business almost crashed at one point. I mean, Susan was pregnant, and I spent 2 weeks in the hospital with her right after our baby, Elizabeth, was born, because Susan had to have a life-changing surgery to make sure that she could stay alive, okay? And then during that time period, my whole business imploded. I was gone for 2 weeks and my business imploded. You know why? Because I didn't have a coach, I didn't have a consultant, I didn't have my business set up with systems, I didn't have my business set up with the proper resources, I didn't even have my business set up with the proper people, because I hired the wrong people, the people that quit on me while I was sitting in the hospital with my wife. This is why you got to have people that can share with you who to hire, how to train them, what kind of systems you need working for them and everything.
If you had been coaching you back then, would you have seen it coming?
No.
No,
well,
I mean, if
I were, with the experience I have now.
Yeah, yeah.
and
Would you
there's a song in
identify-
there somewhere, right?
There
If I
is.
knew then what I knew now, or no,
Like-
if I knew now what I knew then.
Like if today you went back in time and you were coaching you from back then and you saw the employees that guy had on the team,
Oh, my
would you have
goodness.
seen it coming?
Yeah, I would have seen it coming so quickly, and I would have put more backups in place, and I would have built it differently, and I probably wouldn't have had some of those people that I have that I had at that point in time, and it's just, and by the way, here's the cool thing. One of the greatest things about what Jase gets to do, what I get to do. So Jase, by the way, Jase, if you probably don't know this, but Jase trained my wife. Amazing, wonderful woman I've been married to for 40 plus years. She trained her how to do her very first full on stage presentation, okay? And she rocked the house. I mean, they were in laughter, they were in tears, they were just blown away. And now she's been speaking more and more and more. But here's the thing is, had she not had that training, her first experience on stage could have been a disaster. And then she'd be going, I don't ever want to get on stage again. They don't like me. They don't want me. They blah, 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 blah. And the truth is, because of who I am, because of where I was able to see that disaster potential. And I said, no. We have to hire you a coach. And so we hired Jase. And Jase literally came in. It was so much fun. I literally hired Jase. He flew in. He sat right there at my kitchen table and worked with her. Now, a couple of times I would walk by and I go, can I give a small thought here? And I would give like a minute
Susan's
or
going,
no. Yeah, that's exactly what she did. No, And so
So then Mike would say, Jase, say this to Susan. And then she'd use it. It was awesome. It was a great system.
well, I'll give you one important point here, and this will be good for everybody. There's only 3 types of presentations, right? The presentation you want to give, the presentation you give, and the presentation you wish you'd given, okay? And all of us have to learn that because there is no perfect presentation. Here's what you have to do, though, to make sure that you give the best presentation you possibly can. You have to practice it, and you have to have someone guide you through the process to make sure that you're practicing it right. I tell people to get better, you got to practice. They go, that's not true. You got to practice it right. And I go, okay, I get it. Like I was going to try to practice it wrong, all right? But, you think they've been watching
People
me?
are just trying to be funny and quippy.
Okay.
So we did have a question from Natalie. Natalie, by the way, helps people make home study courses and products. She's really awesome. I met her.
Yeah.
We were both sponsoring an event. So her
Hi,
question
Natalie.
Natalie's question was, would you have had that insight in a group program? She says, so many people in group programs, and I don't see the coach having the in-depth knowledge of the client to see the dangers ahead.
Wow.
That's a great question, which can go to help structuring your advanced program. I'll let you answer it first if you want to, and then I'll take it.
Well, I mean, so in a group program, call it a mastermind, because I'm like the king of masterminds. I love masterminds. I've been using masterminds for 30 plus years. I still have a breakfast once a month with a group of mavens, people that can refer business to me, and we run it like a mastermind. And so we're very strategic about this. Now, the truth is, the mastermind is only as good as the person facilitating it. All right, and that's where that in-depth knowledge comes from. And you don't want someone that's, oh, hey, I think I'll start a mastermind, right? That might as well be, hey, I think I'll take you guys all up Mount Everest, but they've never been up Mount Everest before. Can you imagine that? Hey, guys, we're all going up Mount Everest, okay? But they've never been before. So you want somebody that's known it, done it, and
You know how that person who's never taken up Mount Everest can make more sales? Just raise your prices.
oh, okay. I was going to say be a landmark.
Hey, I got Kristen to laugh.
Okay.
You know why a good coach is
Actually, speaking of people on the team, I really
Uh-oh.
want to get her up. Will you please join us up here? As she's on the way up, I want to introduce you. This is Krista Trantham. So Krista is Mike's daughter, and she She used to help run the home inspection company too, right?
I'm going to step out and let you have.
Well, you can get all three of us.
Well, you think you
Just
can?
pull that chair up right there.
Yeah, well, here, pull this chair
So,
up right here.
so Krista now runs MIC, which is Mastermind Inspection Community, and Krista runs, she's the, what's your title? CEO?
CEO.
CEO of MIC and Coach Blueprint, and she's genius, and I'll share with you one of the things that you shared with me that made a huge difference, but what were we going to say first?
Well, I was just going to answer Natalie's question. So Natalie, you're right. There are groups where they don't see it coming. And part of that is because they don't have the depth of knowledge about the client, because they haven't taken the time to actually do the things that are necessary to do that. So a good coach, like let's use the Everest example.
Okay.
So a good coach would do an equipment checklist. We were just talking about this morning. Said, okay, here's the formula for $1 million business. How does your business line up with that formula? What people do you have in place? What systems do you have in place? And so a good coach knows their people. They ask them the right questions. They show them the formulas. They give them the gear list or the checklist so that they can grade themselves against that. So you're right, if they're just sitting around talking, that's not going to be helpful. But if they're actually presenting, hey, this is what it looks like to be successful. These are the systems that you need. These are the people that you need. This is the kind of personality you need in this position, that position. Those kinds of questions get answered and done well, and that's when you know you're in a great program.
Yeah, so here's what I would say. Everyone needs a coach and a consultant. And so the word coach is, I don't know, here's how I'm going to define them. A consultant is industry specific. So for instance, if I was going to open a home inspection company, Mike as a consultant would give me every structure, marketing, tool, hiring practice I would ever need to open a home inspection company. Along the way, though, me as a human, I'm probably going to have days I'm up, days I'm down, days I'm against the wall, days I'm like, I don't believe I can, or days like my crappy old programming is coming up, saying there's no money, nobody, whatever it is, right? So I think everyone needs a consultant, and they also need someone who's industry specific, and then someone who's you specific, i.e. a coach, i.e. someone who helps you work through the mental and emotional hangups so that you can be consistently effective. So I have both in my life. I have consultants on my speaking and information marketing business, and I have private coaches I talk to that help me work my junk out. So why am I sharing all that? When you're structuring your programs, think about what's everything that could sabotage or trip up your people along the way, and then see what you can do to move everything out of the way you can, and then also see what you can do to just have structures in place to point out for the things you can't move out of the way, or if they do fall, to get them dusted off and keep going and a pat on the back. So like even just right now, I'm just finishing the third year of a coaching program I was in, and Suzanne Evans' program, and I love the way she sold it. She said, look, it's a 3-year program, even though she's selling it year to year, but what she said was genius. The first year, you figure it out. Like you figure out what the heck you're doing. The second year, you work it out, and the third year, you rock it out. So before I figure it out, work it out, rock it out. So before I signed up for that first year, I kind of made an emotional commitment. I'm going to do all 3 years. And it sure enough has paid off, and that's finishing. The same time, I'm in Coach Blueprint with Mike and Krista. And then at the same time, I wanted to get into internet marketing, so I got into a private mastermind with Matt Basak, who's one of the top internet marketers in the world.
Incredible guy.
And I've gone from nothing online to the percentage of my income is coming from online is just going up, hence why we're doing this. Because last year I got the most important thing was I got the belief, and I did it. I made my first real money from online sales, and now it's like, but what made it work was, here's the structure I learned. By the way, this is what I'm starting to teach everybody on online sales for coaching programs. Sell people anything at any price online, get them to a webinar, sell them a live event, and at the live event, sell the super big ticket. Super big ticket being $10,000, $20,000, $50,000.
Well, and this is true. So, I mean, one of the reasons we have events is so that they can get to know us, so they can get to see us, so they can get to learn who we really are, okay? Look, even an hour here, we could hide something from you if we wanted to. We don't, and so we don't hide anything at all. We just we lay it all out. But the bottom line is that when you go to a live event, you get to see somebody for a whole day. You get to see them for 2 days, 3 days. You get to really know what makes them tick, and you get to really know whether they have the ability to help you move forward or. And it's one of the most incredible things. And I'm so blessed because at my event, and it's 4 days, my event's 4 days, so we sign people up. And
I was laughing because it's called 3 days of secrets revealed.
And the first secret is it's 4 days.
Yeah. It didn't start out 4 days, by the way, but we added a day for our members before, notice that, before the event. So we have that. And so they get a whole mindset day with incredible people that we bring in. So by the time we go into 3 days Secret Revealed, they're already making a shift that most people don't make. So we do something for those folks, very, very special right up front, and then they come into the 3 days. And so does every other person that wants to learn how to do it. You know, that's probably one of the biggest differences, is that how is the easy part. Just about anybody can teach you how. The real big question is, can they teach you why you're doing it? Or even more so, is their why congruent with your why? See, I mean, if you're both saying, okay, here's how you do it, and you do it, okay, I get it, but their why is dragging you this direction, and you're wanting to go this direction, it eventually becomes stressed, okay? And so when you go to a live event, that's when people get to really know who you are. And at a live event, that's when you have the opportunity to say, you know what? We really would like to work with you closer. You've got to know who we are. So here's what you need to know. There's this package for $9,000. There's this package for $15,000. And if you qualify, there's this package for $25,000. And it's very, very important. You know, even Nito Cobain did this. You know who Nito Cobain is, right? So he runs High Point University. So I spent a couple of days with him this last week. The whole 2 days was really for me to be more comfortable with him, so I would send my kids there. In my case, my grandkids there. But the bottom line, that's what he does, exactly what you just said. Whatever it takes to get them there so they can learn more about who you are and what makes you tick.
Awesome. So, Krista, what's your top tips from selling from stage? And you've worked with and seen tons of speakers.
Oh.
What's your top tips, takeaways, ideas on
that's
selling
great.
like from stage and or super big ticket?
Yeah, thank you for asking. So, you know, coming from you, this top tips thing is like, well, I learned a lot of those top tips from Jase, who's like a master
And we'll finish
at
the
this.
live on that.
There we go. We're all done. Go sign up now.
You know, the biggest thing, though, really, the biggest thing is the trust factor. If they trust you, they're going to be willing to trust in you long enough to invest in themselves. So what I find is a lot of people, they've done something, or they've bought a product, they've tried a weekend seminar, and yeah, there was a small bump, or what they found out was they don't follow through, right? So they found out something bad about themselves. And it scares them when they're trying to make that next step or the next step. And so when they come and they see you, and you do what you say you're going to do, you start on time, you begin to believe in them, you speak to their heart, and they begin to trust you, and that's when they will allow you to trust in them long enough to invest so they can relearn how to trust in themselves, because they've already proven to themselves that they weren't trustworthy, and now they have to rebuild that trust in themselves by actually doing something. And so
Such a
at the
great point.
event, we make them do stuff to prove to themselves again that they
Bingo.
are trustworthy. So on this, like for example, one of the things we've done in the past, and we didn't do it at the last 3 days Secrets Revealed, but one of the things we've done in the past is taught them about how to have a good voicemail. So people call you, and what does your voicemail say? Oh, hey, I can't get to the phone right now. Please leave a message. Well, that's crummy. That's a nice word for it. That's crummy, right? So we taught them a better voicemail script. And on a break, we had them go out and change their voicemail. Now they've proven to themselves, okay, I will do what I say I'm going to do. I am taking this seriously. I am putting something out in front of other people that's different and better than before. And so you build trust in you. They build trust in you because you do what you say you're going to do. You really do teach them things. You start on time. You show up. You are professional. You begin to believe in them. And then you help them build trust in themselves again by telling them to do something substantial, something that's public, something that's not just in their room hidden and nobody else sees it. Something that says, hey, yes, I'm putting a new front out there. And when they do that, they begin to believe in themselves again as well. And that helps them believe in the transformation that you're teaching them about. And then they can move forward.
Did you see
easier.
what I wrote in here?
No.
So I wrote a note to remind myself what Krista talked about, and it says, Krista, trust.
Oh!
I think
Thank
we
you.
found your brand, by the way. Because what happened, let me finish this
Yeah.
thought. And then so what happened was, that what I was going to thank you for, that lesson you gave me. First time I spoke at 3 days, I spoke and I was on multiple times, and I was talking to Krista right before I went on one time, and I said, Krista, do I have to tell my story again, or do they know me already? And she said, this totally made a huge difference in my life the last 6 years. She goes, I believe when you speak, you have to earn their trust every time. And I was like, okay. And then I did, and the speaking went great. And you just talked about, I think that might be your core thing for your coaching.
You know what? You might be right.
Is trust. How does it feel?
I like trust. Trust is essential to everything.
It is.
Someone write that down, please. Trust is essential. Will you write for everything? See, and by the way, as a coach, this is like when I help people write, I'm just listening for stuff, and then I'm looking for, and like, you know how to gain trust, right? Have you gained trust multiple times throughout your business career?
Sure.
You ever had your trust broken? I'm sure. Have you been there, done that? Are you?
Absolutely.
So talk about the guide point of view. She could teach you how to whatever. We can come up with the marketing, but how to gain trust, how to. So I'm just going to riff to give them an example, putting together a coaching program, and so she could talk about. Well, could you talk about how to gain trust as a speaker?
Absolutely.
How to gain trust to sell a small ticket item?
Sure.
How to gain trust to sell, what's the biggest ticket item you guys have ever sold?
Oh, $50,000?
$50,000. And all the things you have to do. And then what she just say, the first thing you have to do is you have to learn how to
Earn their trust.
Earn their trust. And then for the buyers, they need to learn to trust themselves. So for you to sell super big ticket, I bet for you to sell super big ticket and believe you're going to fulfill on the $50,000 thing, you have to trust yourself too.
Absolutely.
So part of her year-long coaching program would be a whole weekend or intensive on learning how to trust yourself again, which would be like a washing out of all the times you've broken your promise, maybe cleaning some of that up, making phone calls. Then the next weekend training would be, here's how things you can do to gain rapport and establish trust face-to-face. The next weekend, here's how we establish trust and rapport through our emails. The next weekend, here's how we do digital marketing.
I love it.
That's actually really hot.
Yeah.
You know-
Sounds like a 25K program.
Yeah. Well, you know,
Take it out there.
there's the book out there, right? Speed of Trust. And I'm not going to get into the whole book, but he said the one thing that equals trust is results. And that's kind of what Krista talked about with changing that. And one of the times, guys, we have several people here, and there was one gentleman in here in particular that shared this morning. And one of the things I was telling him was that you have to build a number of things so it helps people see you as that coach, as that person, that consultant that can help them through parts of that factors. One of the things that I created a long time ago was, you know, right now, I know you've likely had a failure or two. Some of them, all of them have had at least one or two. Some of them are still failing miserably. Here's what I want you to do. Right now, I want you to trust me because I'm successful. And if you'll do what I ask you to do, I want you to know I have more trust, more faith in you right now than you probably do yourself. Because if you'll do what I ask you to do, if you walk where I ask you to walk, I know you're going to get to safe ground.
And that goes to, how do we sell big ticket? You have to be willing to do whatever it takes to help them get the results they paid you for.
Yeah.
Even when that means setting aside your ego. And my least favorite is when I'm trying to think of how I could say this. Or there's someone who's mad at me about something that we helped a family member of theirs have huge healing in this person's life, and the other family member doesn't know. They just know their family member is different, and they're mad at us. And meanwhile, their family member who found healing is actually living their life and having fun for the first time in their whole life.
Thank goodness.
And I have to put my ego aside and not be like, well, here's what, in order to maintain the confidentiality and the structure that allows someone to get the healing this person got. Did that make any sense what I just said?
It
Anyway,
makes
here's what
complete
I'm saying.
sense.
You got to be willing to do whatever it takes and set your ego aside and go full out. And when it's showtime, it's go time. I don't care how sick you are, how tired you are, how ill you are, how late you stayed out the night before. If you're speaking and training and you're coaching, you have to be ready when it's go time.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. And part of the thing is that when you're selling a big program, one of the biggest challenges they're going to have is that 95% of the people they run into, probably even 75% of the people in the room that they're with right then and there, are going to be telling them, oh, you don't need that. Oh, you don't need this. Oh, you don't need that. And you have to overcome all of those objectives in one way. You have to help them understand that there are going to be people that say why you shouldn't do things, okay? One of the first coaches I had, he said was, you have to be careful that you don't shoot on yourself, okay? Because so many people are shooting on you already, all right? And it's kind of a terrible thing. But there's people out there all the time telling you, you shouldn't do this, you shouldn't do that, you shouldn't do this, you shouldn't do that. Look, this hasn't worked over here, it hasn't worked over here, it hasn't worked over here, it hasn't worked over here. How it worked for that guy, I have no idea. Well,
there's a
maybe,
clue right there.
There's
right?
a clue right there. A lot of it comes from mindset. And what kind of mindset do you have? I'm reading a book right now called On Growth Mindset. And it's an incredible book. All of us, the first step truly to selling a great program, a big package, is having the right mindset.
How much have you spent on coaching this year?
Yeah. We spend probably somewhere between $100,000 and $150,000 a year on coaching.
If you're not buying high-ticket coaching, you're not selling high-ticket anything.
Yeah.
So like Matt Basak, he's killing it right now.
That's the truth.
But Matt goes out and buys the highest level stuff, or he goes, instead of buying the book, he told me a great tip. Instead of, like, if he has a book he wants to read, instead of that, he calls up the author and says, can I buy an hour of time with you?
Yeah.
Talks to him direct. So you've got to keep buying. So I have someone else I want to bring up also, which is someone who's sold
Yes.
a bunch from the stage as well. We'll
Yeah.
get 4 people on here.
Well,
Let's
I'll
just
step on
no,
one.
stay on, please.
Oh, we're not careful. We'll have 20
Krista,
go up here.
I'll
Okay.
tell you why. I'll tell you why I do.
Bring
it
a
well.
chair.
Women, I'll get it for her. Women are underrepresented on my show, and I want more women on my show. And I think you're genius, so I want you up here.
Oh,
Can you
that's
bring her
very
around
kind.
over here?
Women are fabulous.
So, this is Linda Hollander. She's been running events. She is a
Ready?
genius marketer, and
Uh-oh.
I am so excited to bring her on. Linda
back in here.
Hollander!
Yay, Linda.
So, Linda,
By the way, you need to listen to Linda. She's only made me probably $1 million or $2 million, somewhere in that neighborhood.
so I need to check with him on something. So, please tell him what you do, and then from there, segue into how are you having success selling your big ticket now?
Okay. My name is Linda Hollander. My company is Sponsor Concierge, and every year I do a sponsor secret seminar, and that's where we sell our big ticket item on stage, which is called the Fast Track Sponsor Program, and people pay to have us teach them how to tap into the awesome power of corporate sponsors to help them fund their dreams. I work with speakers, authors, I work with social influencers, nonprofit charities, and that's basically our demographic and our target audience.
So, you've spoken twice, maybe?
For about 18 years.
Twice.
How many different
Twice a month.
presentations do you
Twice a
think you've
week
done?
at least.
How many different presentations? Well,
How many countries?
I've 5 countries.
5 countries?
Yeah.
Awesome. How many
Yeah.
different presentations? Like, how many times?
Oh, wow. Well, I started out doing women's empowerment. I started teaching women how to start and succeed in their own business, and I created an event for that, and I did it for 10 years. Women met their perfect business partner. They learned the secrets to their own multi-million-dollar business. And the whole thing happened because I found out how to get sponsors. So then they said, well, how are you getting sponsors? So now what I do is training on how to get sponsors.
What's the biggest coaching or sponsorship package you've ever sold?
12,000,
$12,000.
Yeah.
So what's the biggest sponsorship package you've ever sold?
$100,000.
$100,000.
Yeah.
So not like what words did you say, but what mindset went into making a $100,000 sale?
The mindset that went into making the $100,000 sale is really easy, and Jase alluded to it a little bit earlier. You ask the sponsor what they want, and you give it to them. And I mean, I know that sounds a little bit simplistic, but it really is that easy, and most people try to make it a lot more complicated than it is.
Can I mention one thing real
Please,
quick?
yeah.
So one of the things that she sells, and you have to understand that, and all of us sell, and you need to be selling, is what we call dollars at a discount. Why would someone pay $12,000? Okay, it's because it's going to make them $25,000 or $1 million. Okay, why would a sponsor pay $100,000? Because it's going to help them make so much more money in the process. So dollars at a discount.
Cool. So we're about to sign off in a moment. If you've got value out of this, we'll be here same time, same channel next week, same bat time, same bat channel. And then also please share the stream. If you have some entrepreneurs, some speakers, coaches in your life, please share the stream with them. So any other tips on like speaking that you want to share, Linda, that comes up for you, just like on how to sell those $12,000 programs or what, besides the mindset, any part of it at all?
Well, if you're doing an event, there's a classic kind of a 3-day event formula. The first day, you do not sell anything. It's all about what Krista said. It's all about really creating that trust, creating the community in the room, because the more you connect people to each other, the more they are connected to you. The second day, you do sell from the stage. And then the third day, you remind people that it's their last chance to take you up on your offer. That's what's worked for me.
Cool. Anything you guys want to add?
Hey, great to see you guys. Drop us a line, ask us a question. I am always impressed when somebody steps out of their shell and says, okay, this life isn't just about me. I'm going to help somebody else too. We actually have a core mission here to help people help themselves and others, meaning when I help somebody, they actually get help, and then they go on and help other people as well. And that's what I see you guys doing out there. So keep up the good work. You're doing awesome.
I'm just going to say my normal thing, and that is be successful and be around those that are successful. Everything gets so much easier when you hang around other people that are successful.
That's awesome. So I have 2 thoughts. One, on how to structure an offer. You guys know who Blair Singer is?
Yeah.
So talk about coaches. I went to an event to learn how to sell from stage, and Blair talked about packaging. And Blair said, here's how you package. You put value in and value in and value in until you're like, that's a good package. And then you put value in until you go, oh, that's too much. I can't sell them all that at that price. And you do that for that price, so that when you sell, your emotional state is, I really am giving you a smoking deal, all the stuff I'm giving you. And then the second thing, next week, we have a guy over here named Kevin Harris. How long were you a football coach? 15 years as a Texas football coach. And I had what I think is a brilliant idea for his presentation. So Kevin's going to be my guest next week, and you're going to be able to watch me work with him live one-on-one to craft a presentation that will be impactful, that will be something people can use right away, and should he use it to sell coaching programs, will easily get him $1 million in sales, I believe, easily. So please like and share the stream, and then I just want to show you guys what this view looks like. It is so cool from down. Look at, here's us behind us, but it's like Inception. Are we really here?
There's 3
And
of
then,
us.
yeah, and there's the rest of the group. Thank you guys for tuning in. If anybody has questions, please post them in the comments, and we'll get to them. And I will see you guys soon. And like Mike says,
Be successful.
And be
And
around
be
those.
around people who are.
There you go.
and I say, go make a
Because.
difference and make and because.
Because the more money
Because.
you make, the more people you can help.
There you
And
go.
I say, through your speaking and your coaching, you can make a difference and make. Bye, guys.